Hey guys, it's Bro You Wack. So we got some more news about some up and coming changes to not only heroes in Overwatch 2, but also possibly the way that we play competitive, because the hero ban system might be returning in the near future. Now, for those that are wondering where this information even came from, our two favorite Overwatch creators, Cassidy and Baptiste, recently had an interview with Alec Dawson, who is the lead hero designer at Overwatch 2, and also Kenny Hudson, who also works in development for heroes. So we can give a huge shout out to Cassidy and Baptiste for getting this interview and getting them to talk about some up and coming changes. However, I want to also preference that these are still ideas that might not actually happen, but what I will say is that when me and Crystal did an interview with Alec a while ago, and when we talked about these ideas, they eventually did happen, and the fact that the Overwatch team is actually speaking on this kind of stuff leads me to believe that, okay, well, maybe these iterations of hero changes and maybe hero bans can actually happen. And towards the latter half of the video, we will definitely talk about hero bans, because that is a conversation that we definitely need to have, because I don't think y'all remember the tragedy that was hero bans in Overwatch 1. But first, let's talk about the heroes that were brought up that could possibly either get changed or just get a full-on rework, because it seems like every season is getting a rework. And the first hero that was brought up was actually Cassidy. Now, a big reason why our favorite cowboy hero is so beloved is because his hero kit is the simplest hero kit in all of Overwatch. You get a 6-bullet revolver and a little grenade, and you can roll. That's really it. So that's why I'm very surprised to see that Cassidy was even brought up in this conversation, is because, well, he has such a simple hero kit. How can you even make a change, let alone rework a hero that has 3 aspects to it if you don't count the ultimate? And it's funny that I even asked that question, because he already did receive a change when Overwatch 2 went live. Beforehand in Overwatch 1, he had a flashbang where you're able to completely stun an enemy and you're able to fan the hammer. But in Overwatch 2, you had a mana grenade, and then even that mana grenade received a change later on where you're able to infinitely throw it, and then that mana grenade received another change. So it really seems like they can't freaking figure out what to do with this stupid grenade, to the point where I think what's gonna happen is that this grenade is just gonna be replaced with a brand new ability that's nowhere close to a grenade, but rather a skill shot ability, so that Cassidy could have some form of defense from flankers, because that's the whole point of the grenade. It's supposed to stop Tracer, stop Genji, stop Doomfist, stop mobile characters, so that it's not necessarily easy for Cassidy hit shots like how it was in Overwatch 1. That's the whole point of the mana grenade, but it can just try to give him a form of protection so that he can't be easily doved on. So I saw a lot of people suggest the idea to give him a lasso ability, whether it's to replace his grenade or maybe just add a new ability alongside the grenade. But I know when I say the word lasso, that's almost like a Roadhog hook, but the way that I'm looking at it is sort of like a Brigida whip. It's just in the form of a lasso so that it keeps the cowboy aesthetic. And the reason with the lasso is that you get a skill shot so that you're not just using the grenade to cheese a kill, but rather earning the kill. And it still provides the fear ability that flank heroes have to respect, like a Tracer, a Genji, and a Doomfist. But if they want to make it just like Brigida's whip shots, then it could also provide a prevention ability of dive heroes like a Diva, Winston, or a Doomfist. But ultimately, they really just gotta figure out what to do with Cassidy, because while he is a simple hero, he's not an effective hero right now. There are so many better DPS heroes than our favorite cowboy. But another hero that was unsurprisingly brought up that could be the next hero to get reworked is Hammond. And I know all ball mains are shaking in the boots. Oh no, my favorite hamster is gonna get changed. Good. I don't know if it's just the Hammonds that I'm running into in game, but a lot of the time when a Hammond is picked, I know that I'm gonna get no peel, I'm gonna get no forms of protection, but I also know that I'm probably not gonna get a lot of kills from that Hammond, because a lot of the time they're just playing bowling ball simulator and not really trying to dive or shoot anybody in the back line. And if they are, they're getting slept, they're getting antied, they're getting frozen, they're getting walled, they're just getting completely owned, and rightfully so, because we all ran into a terrible ball on the enemy team when we're just able to stop him. But that's the biggest problem, is that Hammond has to go in and get his hands dirty. But I think what the Overwatch team realized is that, oh no, Hammonds aren't playing with their team. They're just going in by themselves. And it has a similar cause and effect to that Sombra kind of had, where Sombra goes in the enemy backline and then she goes away. Similar to Hammond, Hammond goes in the enemy backline and he goes away and completely leaves us, the DPS and support, exposed for the enemy team to come and kill us. And it's a 4v5 at that point. And look, I realize that this is the ball's problem for not playing with the team, not communicating and whatnot, but I think what the Overwatch team is realizing is like, hey, if Hammond players aren't going to be playing with their team, then we got to kind of force them to play with the team, kind of like how they did with Sombra, because Sombras can't go that far with a translocate anymore. But what exactly could we change with this Wrecking Ball hamster hero? What, do we put traps that have cheese set out that could be bait for the enemy team? Or do we have Hammond actually just come out of the ball and start scratching and gnawing at the enemy team? Obviously not. That would be funny to see. But I think there needs to be more of an influence on doing damage rather than just rolling around, because that's what a lot of Hammonds do. They play bowling ball simulator, they slam onto the ground, and then they go away. Or they're just rolling into the enemy team and not going in turret form. Maybe if they have a similar situation like what they do with Magua for Hammond, like if the enemy team is on fire, then yeah, you're going to be more incentivized to do damage rather than just rolling around. But they need to include that in his hero kit. Like maybe if you roll into the enemy, they instantly light on fire, and then you're going to be in attack form and doing damage rather than just rolling. But the final hero change that wasn't specific to a hero necessarily, but rather to heroes that give burst heals and burst damage, is that in Season 9, they're looking to change how burst heals and burst damage is actually given. So in terms of burst heals, heroes like Ana or Baptiste or Brigitta's primary heals are the examples of burst heals. And in terms of burst damage, heroes like Hanzo and Junkrat and Zenyatta's secondary charge are burst damage, you know, instant things. And look, when it comes to the burst damage, this is definitely something I could see getting nerfed, because it can be frustrating knowing that you have no way to either protect yourself or whatever the case may be, like with the Junkrat to insta-kill C4 grenade or the Hanzo random arrow. But when it comes to the burst heals, this is something that I'm hesitant to see just because of the recent track record when it comes to support, because, well, a bunch of support heroes just got nerfed recently and a bunch of tank heroes just got buffed recently. So it seems like Blizzard is wanting to have support heroes suffer right now and have everyone else prosper and frolic in the wind. Like the only few burst heals that I can think of that are just super irritating to play against is Baptiste's AoE, and even just Baptiste's, but really it's just Baptiste, because even the immortality is annoying. Even that's not a burst heal at all, it's still just annoying. But I would say it's less so to do with the support heroes in general, and maybe just a few bad apples, someone like Baptiste. Are we ready to finally have that conversation where people realize that Baptiste is super annoying to play against? No? Alright, well, let's talk about bans, because, well, maybe I could just ban Baptiste in my competitive games then if they decide to bring it back. Alright, hero bans, something that some people think they want in Overwatch 2, but I promise you, I've never wanted to say that people should not want things, but hero bans, I really don't think you want to have in your game, or at least the way that it used to be in Overwatch 1. See, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, we had hero bans in competitive Overwatch 1, but it wasn't set up the way that you thought it would be, because how hero bans were decided was not based on the player's decision for that specific game, but rather Blizzard's decision, or at one point, Zoe's cat's decision of what heroes would be banned for that week. Yeah, I'm not kidding. A feline creature decided that Mei was not going to be playable in competitive Overwatch for that week, or maybe it was just for the Overwatch League. Point is, it wasn't the player's decision of what heroes were not going to be playable. So for that week, if you were a Mercy one trick and Mercy was banned, you literally couldn't play Mercy in competitive for that whole entire week. And I highly doubt Blizzard would go back to that old ban system where they decide what heroes are banned for that week, because clearly it didn't work. So why they would try this second time, I have no idea. So that would ultimately just lead to a ban system where the players decide what heroes would be banned before you go into a game. But here's what would happen, is that there's going to be a meta set. Right now, I would say it's like Sigma, Mei, and Baptiste. Those are the three meta heroes in their respective categories. So everyone would probably ban Sigma, Mei, and Baptiste. You know what's gonna happen is that another meta is just gonna form right underneath it. Orisa and Sojourn and Lifeweaver. I'm not saying that that is the second most popular meta, but you get the point that I'm trying to say, is that if you just ban one meta, you enhance a second meta. So it drives me bonkers when people think that that's gonna be the end-all be-all of metas, when that's the complete opposite. But the other thing, and the big reason why a ban system I don't think would work in Overwatch 2, is that as soon as you ban someone that is a one-trick of that hero, what is that player supposed to do? But play a hero that they're not good at? And you could say, well, that player should learn a different hero. Well, the reality is they don't. And guess what? They're on your team and you just banned the only hero that they know how to play, and now you're forcing them on a different hero. Do you really want a system where it basically gives you an L? To me, I wouldn't. I would rather want that player to play the hero that they know how to play, even though, yeah, it can be frustrating that they only one-trick it, but that's the reality, is that they only one-trick that hero, so let's try to play around it rather than just trying to ban it and force them onto a different hero. not only is it a toxic system, but it's also kind of a time waste. Like, now you're not only have to wait 10 minutes for a game, but you're also having to waste another minute to ban a hero where that person could potentially leave the game and you're having to queue up again. It's just, my god, people suggesting a ban system when it's already been done, it just drives me crazy, because I don't think it will work until we have hundreds of heroes in the game where there are hundreds of different metas. But that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you think a ban system can work in Overwatch 2. So let me know in comments down below, because I would love to hear arguments. And that's not sarcasm. I really do. But anyway, guys, until the next time, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching more Overwatch 2 videos to come, and bye.